because you're near me. And I want to thank you.
This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester. Transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Put your money in motion. Drive VMW, VM Wealth Management. Transform your everyday.
The time by VM Wealth Management is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tana Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, September 2, 2025. JLP says it consulted with multiple stakeholders to develop the party's election manifesto. Business leaders urge political leaders to keep election promises grounded in reality. New UNICEF report highlights widespread concerns among young Jamaicans ahead of national polls. In regional news, OAS election mission reports smooth voting in Guyana. In international news, Afghanistan earthquake death toll surpasses 1,400. In sports, Montego Bay United beat Treasure Beach 3-1 in a JPL encounter in Catherine Hall. And in business, the price of gold hits record high amid global economic uncertainty. The details after the break.
Upgrade your home or business with Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Explore a range of termite-resistant plywood, quartz, solid surface, and granite. Experience timeless elegance with our cedar doors, crafted from premium cedar stock, kiln-dried for durability and beauty. For quality and craftsmanship, visit us at the Trade Center Kingston 10 or Hatfield Mandeville. Call 876-963-0628-30. Cameron Industries and Joinery Limited. Transform your space today.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Chairman of the JLP's campaign committee, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says multiple groups were consulted in the creation of its manifesto. This amid criticism that the plan by the JLP to double the minimum wage lacked the requisite input from key stakeholders. Dr. Tufton addressed the issue at a media briefing on Monday at the JLP's Belmont Road headquarters.
In developing the manifesto, as was said earlier, there is broad consultation. Minister John Smith probably can comment on how broad that was. Remember now, this is a political organization that's developing a list of policies for the future. And while official agencies provide support based on what is in the public space, we don't really engage civil servants to determine what the political organization is going to do going forward. We use data that is available in the public domain. We have our own advisors who are professionals, and we consult with groups to the extent that they are interested to be consulted. But you have to be careful how you get into manifesto building involving ministries and ministry personnel for fear that you are accused of politicizing these organizations. So one has to be careful of that.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, chairman of the JLP's campaign committee. Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness announced on Sunday that the national minimum wage will be doubled from $16,000 to $32,000 on a phased basis. The first phase increase will take the minimum wage to $18,500 effective April 1, 2026. While welcoming the move, President of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, believes that the owners and operators of small businesses ought to have been consulted. Meanwhile, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Metro Siaga, says Jamaica's minimum wage must reflect the realities of the economy.
Increases in wages generally, of which minimum wage is one of those increases, should be based on a couple of things. One, we do have a minimum wage commission, and we want to make sure that this passes the test of that minimum wage commission. Two, we want to make sure that wages are aligned to productivity. We cannot continue to be an unproductive society as we are, where our productivity levels keep flat or falling. We just can't continue that anymore. So the wages needs to reflect the increase in productivity. And thirdly, we feel that the wage increase should be tied to the inflation rate.
Metro Siaga, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, says without an improvement in productivity, a change in the minimum wage will have limited impact.
We need to move to a high-skilled society. Only 40% of the Jamaican workforce have certified skills, and the world is rapidly changing. So upskilling and certainly identifying the skills that the global market is willing to pay for is critical. We have to build resilience into the economy. So we have to diversify away from our dependence on remittances, or dependence on tourism, or dependence on agriculture, which are all vulnerable to exogenous shocks. And as the COVID pandemic and most recently Hurricane Beryl has taught us, we are quite vulnerable as a small developing island economy.
Wayne Chen, Jamaica Employers Federation President. Both men were speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday. And Wayne Chen says it's difficult to define what a livable wage means for Jamaicans.
We need to move to a high-skilled society. Only 40% of the Jamaican workforce have certified skills, and the world is rapidly changing. So upskilling and certainly identifying the skills that the global market is willing to pay for is critical. We have to build resilience into the economy. So we have to diversify away from our dependence on remittances, or dependence on tourism, or dependence on agriculture, which are all vulnerable to exogenous shocks. And as the COVID pandemic and most recently Hurricane Beryl has taught us, we are quite vulnerable as a small developing island economy.
However, the JEF president believes a serious conversation cannot take place in the current political climate.
If any government in the past could have conjured it out of, by just passing a law, it should have been done a long time ago. Clearly, it needs more than just a declaration of intent. It needs a whole ecosystem. A livable wage means a different thing in a different context. If Jamaica had a very robust social safety net, if we had, universal and good education, which we strive for, universal and freely accessible healthcare, which we strive for. But more than that, unemployment insurance, a good pension system, and so on and so forth. The wage would be less. Now, if you have to find those things on your own, if you have to go out and buy health insurance, if you have to go out and pay for private education or private lessons or whatever, the livable wage would be more. So,
Wayne Chen, president of the Jamaica Employers Federation. As Jamaicans prepare to head to the polls, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, is calling on both political parties to keep their promises grounded in reality. The JMEA says while the manifestos of both parties highlight important areas of development, the campaign has been dominated by pledges that far exceed Jamaica's economic capacity. Robin Williams reports.
Among the proposals are reducing income tax to 15%, raising the tax threshold to $3.5 million, and doubling the minimum wage to $32,000. The JMEA says it supports better wages and improved living standards, but it stresses that there must be a credible roadmap to grow the economy to sustain such measures. Executive Director of the JMEA, Kamisha Blake, says Jamaica has long struggled with stagnant productivity, weak growth, and the challenges of a large informal economy. She argues that unless fundamentals such as skills, infrastructure, energy costs, and public sector efficiency are addressed, campaign promises will remain empty words. JMEA President Catherine Silvera warns that small manufacturers and exporters would be especially vulnerable to a sudden 100% wage hike. She says without strategies to improve productivity, businesses could be forced to raise prices or cut jobs, hurting the same workers such policies intend to help. The association's Deputy President Cecil Foster is urging both major political parties to exercise sobriety and responsibility. He says commitments should be based on fiscal discipline, data-driven policies, and consultation with stakeholders. In that regard, the JMEA has outlined several medium-term priorities. These include achieving 4 to 5% growth in gross domestic product GDP, lowering energy costs, further reducing crime, cutting the debt-to-GDP ratio to below 60% by 2027, expanding industrial infrastructure, and modernizing the public sector. The JMEA says it is time for sober leadership and practical, sustainable policies developed in partnership with the private sector rather than what it calls wild promises. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says his administration is committed to establishing a peaceful society through the continued reduction in major crime. Speaking at a mass rally in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Sunday, he repeated his vision for Jamaicans to be able to sleep with their windows and doors open.
In 2016, I stood at a meeting in St. James, just outside of where we now have the Zozo in Mount Salem. And I made a presentation. I said, I want Jamaicans to be able to sleep with their windows and doors open. And people ridicule the statement, but I know what God has in store for this country. I don't set my hat where I can reach it. I'm always stretching, pushing the boundaries, and it is the ambition to achieve peace in Jamaica. Why I made that ambitious statement that Jamaicans must have peace so we can sleep with our windows and doors open, and by God we are going to achieve it in this country.
Prime Minister Holness says if his government is re-elected, even greater efforts will be made to advance peace building.
In 3 years, we have cut the murder rate by 55%. Some people thought it was never possible, but we did it. We did it using zones of special operations. Follow me. Tell me one community in Jamaica that is now at war with another community. Tell me that. Just think about it. Tell me one. We used states of public emergency. We invested over $90 billion in the capital budget of the security forces of Jamaica. We improved investigation, improved intelligence, improved operations of our security forces. And so today, Jamaica is moving in the right direction towards peace.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. A new U-Report poll conducted by UNICEF Jamaica has highlighted widespread concerns among young Jamaicans about their future. The survey has revealed that the top challenges among Jamaica's youth are jobs, the cost of living, mental health, and crime. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The U-Report poll engaged over 500 youths aged 15 to 30. It has a 90% response rate. 37% of the respondents identified finding a better job as their biggest concern, while 28% pointed to the rising cost of living. Nearly half of the respondents said they were not confident they would find a good job locally, and 62% believed affordable housing is out of reach. Economic struggles are also evident, with 29% reporting that they often skip meals because of a lack of money, and 38% saying they sometimes do. Safety remains an issue as 60% felt only somewhat safe in their communities and 12% did not feel safe at all. The findings also underscored migration concerns, as 71% said they would leave Jamaica if given the chance. 42% were unsure whether they see a future for themselves in the country, while 35% said they did. Political engagement appeared low, with 66% registered to vote, but only 30% very likely to cast a ballot. Many cited distrust in the political system, while others pointed to disinterest or registration barriers. When asked about the most important changes they want from leaders, 38% called for reduced cost of living. Another 33% wanted better jobs, while 12% highlighted access to quality education. In light of the results, UNICEF Jamaica is urging policymakers to expand youth employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It also called for improved housing access, strengthening mental health and community safety, as well as build civic trust. The survey was conducted between August 8 and 29, 2025. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, is advising the public that additional health centers in Kingston and St. Andrew will be temporarily closed on September 3. This is to facilitate their use as polling stations during Wednesday's general election. The Windward Road and Harborview Health Centers, along with the Edna Manley and Denhamtown Health Centers, will be used for voting. The other facilities in Kingston and St. Andrew that will be closed for the day are Olympic Gardens, Seaview Gardens, and Lawrence Tavern Health Centers. The public is also being reminded that the Bartons and Riversdale Centers in St. Catherine will be used as polling stations. Additionally, the Landui Health Center in St. Thomas will also be closed. Members of the public are being urged to reschedule all appointments and seek medical care at other health facilities during the period. Regular services at the above-mentioned health centers are expected to resume on Thursday, September 4. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:16.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The temperature brought to you by BH Paints is
27 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay, and 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Regional and international news this morning. Regional news. Voting in Monday's elections in Guyana proceeded smoothly with only minor issues reported. This is according to the Organization of American States Election Observation Mission, led by former Jamaican Prime Minister Bruce Golding. Golding said observers had visited 340 polling stations across 7 regions by mid-morning. He said the majority of polling stations opened on time, except for one where a polling compartment screen was missing. Nearly 750,000 people were registered to vote for candidates of the 6 political parties vying for the leadership of the oil-rich nation. The election results are expected on Thursday. International, the Taliban administration in Afghanistan says the death toll from the major earthquake that struck eastern Afghanistan on Sunday has surpassed 1,400. A government spokesman gave the update in a post on X on Tuesday. He says the number of those injured has risen to 3,000. The powerful magnitude 6 earthquake shook several provinces, causing extensive damage. It flattened villages and trapped people under the rubble of homes constructed mostly of mud, bricks, and wood. Rough terrain is hampering rescue and relief efforts. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
For a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paints 100% Acrylic Ultima Plus paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
Getting ready for school is as easy as KB. Shop at Kingston Bookshop between July 14 to September 6, 2025 for your chance to win big in our back to school promotion. Spend just $5,000 before GCT, shop online or in store, and you could win $150,000 in cash, an HP laptop, or a Samsung Galaxy Tab A9. It's back to school the easy way, only at KB. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Trans-Jam highways. Our automated T-Tag lanes reduce the cost of managing cash at our toll plazas, and drivers of Class 1 and 2 vehicles who use the T-Tag pay a lower toll fare than those who use the manually operated toll booths. They also get their 10th trip through any toll plaza free. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted by 50% down to $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from now on till September 5th.
Time now for your morning sports. Former national striker Jordan Fletcher scored twice on Monday night to steer Montego Bay United to a 3-1 win over Treasure Beach in their Red Nephew Jamaica Premier League encounter at Catherine Hall, St. James. Fletcher scored in the 90th and 94th minutes. Jamari Clark got the other goal for Morbay, who was registering their first win of the season. In another game, Unpleasant Academy and Malines United played out a 1-1 draw. Shaquille Bradford gave Mount Pleasant the lead on 53 minutes before Marlon Pennycook equalized 5 minutes later. Cavalier beat Arnott Gardens 3-2 in the other Monday game. Sports analyst Leighton Levy has thrown his support behind Jamaica's male sprinters, boldly predicting a 1-2 finish in the 100 meters at the Tokyo World Championships set for September 12 to 20.
Shane Thompson has resolved silver medal at the Olympics last year. Everybody expects him to go one better this year. However, when you look at what Oblique Seville has been able to do throughout the course of the season, you have to believe that Jamaica has the potential to go 1-2 in the men's 100 meters.
However, Levy's projections weren't as optimistic for the women in the short sprints. He's predicting only a bronze medal in both races.
In the women's 100 meters, this is the best opportunity for Jamaica, regardless of whoever competes, whether it's Sherika Jackson or Tina Clayton or Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. I think one medal is up for grabs in the 100 and 200 in Tokyo. Because when you look at what Julian Alfred and Melissa Jefferson-Wooden have been doing during the course of the season, I don't see any Jamaican woman being able to supplant those two men from the gold or silver medal in either event.
Leighton Levy, of course, Nationwide will have live coverage of the World Championships. Now, following a tense and thrilling opener, the West Indies under-19s meet Sri Lanka in the second Youth One-Day International at the Coolidge Cricket Ground on Tuesday. In the first ODI, the Windies made 256 all out, with Jonathan Van Liege making 83 of 94 balls. In reply, Sri Lanka were bowled out for 244, handing the Windies a dramatic 12-run win. The victory gave the Windies a 1-0 lead in the 7-match series. Finally, in your morning sports, two-time U.S. Open champion Naomi Osaka says beating Coco Gauff to earn her most impressive win since giving birth is one of the moments she plays tennis for. Japan's Osaka, who gave birth to daughter Shea in 2023, knocked out American third seed Gauff with a 6-3, 6-2 win to reach the quarterfinals. And that's it for your morning sports.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Business this morning, the price of gold has hit a record high as demand for the precious metal remains strong amid global economic uncertainty. The spot gold price hit $3,508.50 US per ounce early on Tuesday. The price continues its upwards trend, which has seen its rise by nearly a third this year. The precious metal is viewed as a safer asset for investors during times of economic uncertainty, as its price rose earlier this year after U.S. President Donald Trump announced wide-ranging tariffs which have upset global trade. Analysts say the price has also been lifted by expectations that the U.S. Central Bank will cut its key interest rate, making gold an even more attractive prospect for investors. Adrian Ash, Director of Research at Bullion Vault, told the BBC's Today program that the rise in gold prices over the past few months is really down to Trump and what he's done to geopolitics and what he's done to global trade. Analysts also cite worries over the independence of the U.S. Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, as another factor driving the global price. Trump has launched repeated attacks on the Federal Reserve's chair, Jerome Powell, and recently attempted to fire one of its governors, Lisa Cook. U.S. packaged food giant Kraft Heinz has announced on Tuesday that it will split into two listed companies. That's Kraft Heinz. The company says the move seeks to jumpstart growth after years of sluggish sales. It dismantles the decade-old merger between H.J. Heinz Co. and Kraft Foods Group, which was backed by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway and Brazilian private equity firm 3G Capital. Kraft Heinz decision creates one firm focused on sauces and spreads, such as Heinz, Philadelphia, and Kraft Mac and Cheese, which had sales of about $15.4 billion in 2024. The other would consist of processed foods and ready-meal brands, including Oscar Mayer and Lunchables, which had about $10.4 billion in annual sales. The grocery unit will be headed by Kraft current CEO Carlos Abrams Rivera. The company says it was looking for potential CEO candidates for the sauces unit. Tuesday's announcement is the latest in a series of corporate breakups as price-conscious shoppers shifting to cheap alternatives, such as private labels, force companies to pursue focused strategies. Finally, in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has lost 78 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $161.87 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican has gained $1.75 and will open, selling for an average $117.30 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican has gained 67 cents and will begin trading this morning for an average $217.30 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:29.
Outperform, outlast, we top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Like Rastafari Almighty, so I say, okay. Man, Marcus, Honorable. So much things to give thanks for, I don't even know where to start. So I come before thee with a very grateful heart. And in this Gideon, I will always play my part. If I ever forget to give thanks, God, please remind me. If I ever get lost, please find me and stand beside me. Rastafari Almighty. If I ever forget to give thanks, God, please remind me. If I ever get lost, please find me and stand beside me to protect and guide me. Cause I'm so blessed and I won't stress. I know God loves me, I won't guess. Pray God's may talk, but God knows best. They're trying to stop me, but I won't let them be afraid to ride. Never even get to ride, never step too high. Rastafari protect the eye, and Emmanuel bless the eye. With more words of truth, was Marcus Garvey a prophesy. When I make him on the right hand, I will praise the King as long as I can. He made me and I can. Praise Rastafari and let the world know. Fire like an inferno, although I've learned from all life lessons, giving thanks for all my blessings. I have seen the King's words manifesting, the words of Rastafari impressing. If I ever forget to give thanks, God, please remind me. If I ever get
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you. You're tuned in to Nationwide this morning. NTM, the big show. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us this Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, September 2, 2025. Hello to our YouTubers, our peeps out there in Radioland, joining us from the app or the website this morning. Good morning to you as well. Happy to have you this Tuesday morning. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Good morning, Tawna. Good morning, listeners. My name is George.
Hello to you, George.
What up?
Before we came on air, we were just talking about tomorrow, the big day. And then after that, everything just goes back to normal. No more green and orange and purple and independence. No more rallies. No more excitement. No more press conferences. No more jingles. No more dubs. No more nothing. It's
done. Normalcy. We'll have time to talk. I don't want to take up your time in the morning. So
I mean, it's a part of that. Because I'm just reflecting on the big sports day. That's tomorrow. And I was trying to recall if you were here in 2020, but you weren't.
No.
Where were you in 2020?
In 2020,
Thursday, September 3, 2020, COVID times. Where were you?
Yeah, I was at Sportsmax and Scene TV, running around with my colleagues, trying to put things in place so we could do an election coverage on a lower scale, because it's in my blood.
Yes.
So even though I was a sportsman, the fact of we having Scene TV and the diaspora watching, people in New York, in tri-state area, and of course Ontario and Canada, we put something together. So I was busy trying to get those arrangements in place so that we could have a live election broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I did.
Yes.
And I called it before Cliff.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. When I saw Central Kingston,
yes,
Donovan Williams leading with number of boxes counted, and then I said, okay, go to Eastern Westmoreland, bring up Eastern Westmoreland. And when they brought up Eastern Westmoreland, and I saw that Luther Buchanan was trailing Danny Lawrence sizably at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Marky, he did make up ground, but when I saw Eastern Westmoreland and I saw Central Kingston, I said, no man, the JLP have won these elections.
Yes.
And so it turned out.
Yeah, I'm just remembering I was in the field, and it's going to be such a different time from it was 5 years ago, because we had to be social distancing. We had on our mask. All the election day workers from EOJ, they were sanitizing vigorous. Everything was being sanitized. As I use a pencil, it's getting wiped out. A lot of that was happening. And I just remembered, the sort of care that was taken with the older Jamaicans coming to the different polling stations to cast their ballots. So tomorrow, no, there's none of that.
No.
I'm sure everybody, as Jamaicans say, got bunged up in a line.
Brawling.
No mask, no nothing. As we seek to cast our ballots. But as many of you know, nationwide listeners, we have dubbed our coverage the Race to 32, and the young people calling it the Big Sports Day. Tomorrow we look to see who will secure 32 of the 63 constituencies first and cross the line as the victor. And as we're reflecting, George, I was reflecting last evening as well about the season and what it has been. And many Jamaicans who experienced violent election seasons of the past, they were sort of bracing for that escalation, because at points throughout this season, it was tense.
Mm-hmm.
There were the billboard and campaign paraphernalia battles. You saw several instances of folks on social media tearing down the other side's campaign material across the country. Some were told that they can't mount anything in certain areas as well. Knives I saw being drawn in certain videos. Expletives were plenty. And we saw some roadblocks being mounted in different sections of the country as well. And we had those 2 gunshot incidents that the police subsequently said were not politically motivated, but of course, incidents that understandably made constituents and others a bit jittery. And I recall political commentator Dr. Nadine Spence, she came on this program and said, she was a bit nervous, expressing anxiety about the season. But I'm thankful that with only 1 day to go now, we have made it this far without any loss of life or serious injuries to any Jamaican. And Jamaica also sits this morning, George, in a place of strong credibility with our electoral system. A far way we have come with that. And it is my hope that whichever way the results go tomorrow night or early Thursday morning, who knows, that it will be trusted and will stand. So there's confidence in the electoral system on that front. It remains at the end of Wednesday's big sports day. We're all Jamaicans, George.
That's right.
Champions of this beautiful country we are. Further, this election, I see, has ripped up some friendships. That's a sad reality of an election season, where some folks are choosing party over their long-standing friendships.
Yes.
Very unfortunate.
Yes.
Because when the sports day is done, many of you will stand at the same bus stop.
Yes.
Sit in the same taxi, side by side. You will all have to move on as neighbors and relatives who I'd want to see continue to share your garden, whether it is you have vegetables that you used to share. Somebody can come over here and ask for ketchup or sugar, share a meal, hang out together, and remain as friends and community folks, Jamaicans all. It shouldn't be that you have to be choosing your party over long-standing friendships that you have built. So this morning, as I reflect, I salute the ones who have held on to their friendships throughout this political season, despite their political affiliations. I was most delighted and pleased to see folks out this season in their green and their orange, partying together, having a drink together, the ones who transported a supporter in their vehicle, everybody driving together. And on nomination day, for example, my colleague over there in St. Catherine, Kimon, she interviewed a group of girlfriends. Some of them were PNP supporters, some of them were JLP supporters, who told Kimon why they've chosen to endorse either party, but that their endorsement, their affiliation could never break up their friendship. And that's the spirit of what it means to be Jamaican, because at the end of the day, we're one big family. We all have to live here, work here. So we're all one big family. And in every corner of Jamaica where that is being demonstrated, this support, this friendship that remains, I salute that this morning. But also to my first-time voters, there are many of you. And I don't know, George, if you've gotten the messages from any first-time voter, but I've gotten many messages. And something stood out. Many of them were saying that they don't have their new ID, so they're concerned that they can't vote. To repeat for everyone in the hearing of my voice this morning, you do not need your ID to vote. Sure, it would make the process go faster, easier. But if you do not have it, you are fine. Find yourself in the line early. That's what's important. And do not be intimidated by the process as well. There are professional election day workers whose duty it is to properly inform you about what to do. You head straight to the presiding officer inside your polling division and you listen carefully to those instructions and you exercise your franchise, because tomorrow is D-Day in Jamaica, and everybody, George, who is on the election listing, you're eligible to vote, should ensure that their voice is heard with their ballot.
Very good.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I want to endorse all that you said. I was saying to you off air that this is and I've always been saying it to the team broadly, that this is a period where the access to our political leaders there are no barriers. Every minister you call, pick up second ring, third ring, call you back if they missed the call. Those of us who have opposition figures who answer us,
yes,
they answer quickly, even if they not talk to you upon ear because the party prevent them from doing so. They talk.
They WhatsApp me.
Yeah, man, messages and flying around. That ends after September about 4. Yeah, that ends. Yeah, people would become MPs. People who could get them quickly, now get them again. You understand? It's the nature of the game. It's a cycle, and it's a time of year that I look forward to. Election time. I really, really love it. The energy is unique.
Yes.
And I'm going to miss it when it moves on, but move on it must, because other things must demand our attention. and occupy our minds. The country's the next phase of matters dealing with the country must continue, and this is just but one phase, and it has to end. So I'm not going to be unhappy, but I love election season, I must say.
It's crazy, George, because you would know there are many times myself and my other colleagues, we would complain to you.
Yep.
Oh my God, I can't wait for this season to be over. Oh my God, this is stressing me out, blah, blah, blah. But here we are now, and I'm saying to you, I'm going to miss the season.
Yep.
Because there's so much about the season that, makes your adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
There's so much that you look forward to reporting, you look forward to talking about, you look forward to seeing. And here it is, after tomorrow, quickly, everything goes back to normal.
Reset.
Yeah.
On the point of reset, just before we break, there is... I just want to say to Jamaicans that, and it goes right along with what you've said. Whatever happens on Wednesday, you have to wake up and go to work Thursday morning. You have to continue with the life Thursday morning. The world doesn't end if Labour Right win or if PMP win.
Yes.
And if you're not supporting that side. Life continues. You still have one football team where stress you out. You still have one son where stubborn, a daughter who is not telling, as country people would say. You still have bills to pay. You still have life to live. Life will continue.
You still have that vacation to take.
You still have that. Yeah. We still have Revo to develop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We still have work to do. And on that point, I see, boy, so there was a picture of me posted yesterday by CVM TV saying that I was leaving Lead Story, and the amount of the room of them start fly. Oh, CVM TV run with you. Me say where? Thankfully, I've been working since I left university in 2005. I've never been sacked in my life. I've never been asked for my resignation. On August 19, 10:25 a.m., I sent an email to the CEO telling him that given the demands on my time by virtue of what we're doing with Revo, and that's going to take a lot of time, and given my position here, clearly I didn't have the time to dedicate. Because remember, my day starts at 5 a.m. and I'm going on till 7 p.m., 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. And people looking on and say, yeah, but the extra hours we are doing other people place. They look at it that way, but it was necessary for me to have done what I did. And I just didn't have the time anymore. And given the additional responsibilities with Revo, clearly, so on August 19 at 10:25 a.m., I communicated my decision to move on, and that September 2, Tuesday, would be my last day. So for the people who I don't understand, you see, some people owe us royalties, They talk about us every day. I mean, we never mention them because we are Navy SEALs, they are baby SEALs.
Yes.
Navy SEAL and baby SEAL no fight because that's a mismatch. So for the people who people are, I wonder, come on now, please. Come on, people, seriously. So it is with very, very strong terms that I express that, I will need to use my time elsewhere in the development of Revo, especially because you don't know what happens on September with 3, and there are some people who say that they're coming for us. So we have to put ourselves in a position where market forces will determine our future, and not a pen stroke from somebody who has a vendetta that they're going to wage against us just in case. So that is the truth and the whole truth. Never been sacked. Never been asked for my resignation, and everywhere I've gone, I believe I've made a very strong impact, and I've been a credit to those I've worked with. So let those who can never walk the path, never, ever, ever in a million years, a trillion Sundays, never do those things, let them jealously spread rumors, because that's all they have to do. And thankfully, Tana,
yes,
I've come to the place, and I had a private conversation about this once. You see, I've come to the place, I've been here a while now, where you see these rumors and these attacks, they amuse me. I never read them and say, oh my God, they're saying these things. No, I'm glad, man. Yeah. So there you go.
So just before we go to our break, George, I did check my WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I'm seeing one of our listeners asking me to remind folks of when voting starts. So gates open at 7 a.m. Sharp. 7 a.m. and go right up to 5 p.m.
But if you're in the line at 5 o'clock, they'll allow you.
You are fine.
Yeah, man. If you're in the line at 5 o'clock, you're good.
So don't worry that 5 p.m. you're in the line and boy, I won't be able to vote. You are quite fine. You will be able to vote. So get out early and make it count. But right up to 5 p.m. 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to have my own historical moment tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
When I do my scene setup, you'll see if I have my own historical moment.
I see somebody in the chat saying, George, the PNP and they say they run you. Well, I can tell you this: not even one girl never run me yet.
There you have it. We're gonna take a break and come back with more on NTM. JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Do you have the financing to support a long-term investment program in water? And the answer to that is yes, because we have managed the economy in such a way as to be able to do that. We deliberately make a point of every week either breaking ground, handing over, turning on, not announcing, because it shows you the track record of delivery. So you can have faith in that yes, you don't have it now, but there is a program in place backed by good fiscal management so that it can project the revenues into the future to support the future project. And that's what you want. You want government policy with endurance.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica's largest tile selection just got even bigger. Discover what's new at Active Home Center. With our latest arrivals, it's easier than ever to make your space truly unique. Explore ocean blues, botanical greens, and soft sandy neutrals that bring a calm, effortless vibe. From bold patterns to sleek, large format tiles in glossy or matte finishes, every room makes a statement. Shop now at Active Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Time now for Street Smarts 1 with the gentleman, Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Good morning, George. Good morning, Connor.
Hello to you, Ludlow.
Everyone there in the studios and all the different listeners, viewers, those who have joined and those, who are traveling and those who have come from all the way abroad to take part in the voting. And our visitors, yes, all of them. Good morning. Just to tell you, it's a bright and sunny morning, and the vehicular flow is not too bad. It depends on where you are, though, because those of you up in the Ligony area, just a little in the vicinity of that, the embassy, and really it's not too bad yet, but just to get through Mona via Wellington, Wellington Drive to get back onto Mona Road. It's still not smooth sailing yet, but there's a little route that if you can manage the hill, they can go through the Long Mountain area, go Pines of Karachi, then you get back onto Montclair Drive, you exit onto Beverly Drive, Kenstone Drive, then onto Olo Road, and then you should be okay. That is when the traffic peaks, however. Or you go through Hope Pastures, via Hope Boulevard, all the way into Charlemont Avenue, Charlemont Drive, then onto Barbican Road, then onto Paddington Terrace, and then you can, leave out that area, that Ligony area. But in the meantime, these areas are running smoothly. Ligony Avenue, Hope Road, going all the way into Harper Tree. If you're on East Kings Horse Road now, it's pretty good as you make your way across to Lady Musgrave Road. So you don't have much of a challenge at this particular point in time. remember, always remember, the Boulevard, Spanish Town Road, and also the Mandela. Lots of traffic coming in from that side, but there's no great build-up yet. So it's our first report for the morning until 7:18. And remember, it's bright and sunny. George.
Thank you, Lolo, there with Street Smarts. Yes, sir.
Yes, Ludlow.
Those Antonio, those awards represent.
What?
On this side, this side there, those awards, what do they represent?
Oh, the awards behind us?
Yes.
No, the Press Association of Jamaica Awards, Fair Play Award. We did an investigation on the Solutria affair. We did one about behind the Record Service racket. We have one for corruption at the NHDC. A lot of work. So some of the awards that Nationwide has won for investigative journalism over the years.
Right. So,
and it's not everything, because we have a lot up the stairs going up to accounts. A lot more.
Right. So it's an archive. All right. My listeners will hear all of that, because they always ask what's going on.
Okay.
Viewers and listeners.
Okay, Ludlow.
All right, then. Good.
Time now for the word of the day.
Our word of the day is spelled Panache, spelled Panache.
Panache. Panache. Panache.
Your word of the day is pronounced panache. It's a noun, and it means a grand or flamboyant manner, style, or flair. Panache is your word of the day. Dictionary.com telling us that the word was first recorded between 1545 and 1555. You wanted to say something about panache?
If you switch the second letter in the word for another vowel, what you get?
George Sylvester Davis.
But Miss Thomas, it's called panache. E is a vowel, isn't it?
George, please. Panache is your word of the day. Panache, panache, and it means a grand or flamboyant manner, style, or flair. To use it quickly in a sentence, here's hoping this long-awaited project makes it across the finish line with panache. Up next, your features at the top of the hour, the news.
Dasheen is among a family of root crops or ground provisions grown on the islands of the English-speaking Caribbean dating back to the early 16th century. Also known as taro, blue food and kalo. Historians say the crop arrived to the Caribbean aboard transatlantic slave ships. In Food for Thought today, 6 health benefits of eating dasheen. Dasheen is a great source of fiber and other nutrients and offers a variety of potential health benefits. These are: dasheen may help control blood sugar. Although the root is a starchy vegetable, it contains 2 types of carbohydrates that are beneficial for blood sugar management: fiber and resistant starch. Fiber is a carbohydrate that humans cannot redigest. Since it's not absorbed, it has no impact on blood sugar levels. It also helps slow down the digestion and absorption of other carbs, preventing large blood sugar spikes after meals. Dasheen also contains a special type of starch known as resistant starch that humans cannot digest, and thus it doesn't raise blood sugar levels. Roughly 12% of the starch in cooked dasheen is resistant starch, making it one of the better sources of this nutrient. This combination of resistant starch and fiber makes taro root a good carb option, especially for people with diabetes. Dasheen may reduce the risk of heart disease. Substantial research has found that people who eat more fiber tend to have lower rates of heart disease. One study found that for additional 10 grams of fiber consumed per day, the risk of dying from heart disease decreased by 17%. This is due in part to fiber's cholesterol-lowering effects. Also, the resistant starch in dasheen has been linked to a reduced risk of heart disease. Dasheen may offer anti-cancer properties. Dasheen contains plant-based compounds called polyphenols that have various health benefits, including the potential to reduce cancer risk. The main polyphenol found in the root is quercetin, which also exists in large amounts in onions, apples, and tea. Test tube and animal studies have found that quercetin can trigger cancer cell death and slow the growth of several types of cancers. It's also a powerful antioxidant that protects your body from excessive free radical damage that has been linked to cancer. Dasheen may help you lose weight. Research has found that people who eat more fiber tend to have lower body weight and less body fat. This may be because fiber slows stomach emptying, which keeps you fuller longer and reduces the number of calories you eat throughout the day. Over time, this may lead to weight loss. And finally, dasheen is good for the gut. Since dasheen contains plenty of fiber and resistant starch, it may be beneficial to gut health. Your body does not digest or absorb fiber and resistant starch, so they remain in your intestines. When they reach your colon, they become food for the microbes in your gut and promote the growth of good bacteria. That's it for Food for Thought. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
They will get loud if they can't have their own way, screaming, kicking, and dragging themselves on the ground. I know you're tempted to scold them. On Lifestyle Pages today, tips on how to discipline your child in public. I'm Tana. It can be the most embarrassing thing when your child is rude in public and throws a tantrum that captures the attention of so many people who will stare at you. First, explain to your child from home what you're going to do and stick to it. Give your child alternatives. Children need help with replacing an undesirable behavior with something new that will help them control themselves. Reward and punishment. Put meaningful rewards in place for good behavior and for bad. These punishments should not involve spanking and should be age appropriate. Nip it in the bud. Consistently enforce punishment. If you wait until later or only doing it sometimes, then you will not see behavioral changes. Most importantly, you as the adult need to stay calm at all times. Don't shout, don't argue, and never give up. I'm Tana, and those were your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Ormo Bay. The temperature by National Supply is...
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Tuesday, September 2, Election Eve 2025. JLP says it consulted with multiple stakeholders in developing its election manifesto. Business leaders urge political leaders to keep election promises grounded in reality. And a UNICEF report highlights widespread concern among young Jamaicans ahead of national polls. In international news, China hosts Russia and North Korea in show of force to the West.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Chairman of the JLP's campaign committee, Dr. Chris Tufton, says multiple groups were consulted in the creation of its manifesto. This amid criticism that the plan by the JLP to double the minimum wage lacked the requisite input from key stakeholders. Dr. Tufton stressed the issue at a media briefing on Monday at the JLP's Belmont Road headquarters.
In developing the manifesto, as was said earlier, there is broad consultation. Minister John Smith probably can comment on how broad that was. Remember now, this is a political organization that's developing a list of policies for the future. And while official agencies provide support based on what is in the public space, we don't really engage civil servants to determine what the political organization is going to do going forward. We use data that is available in the public domain. We have our own advisors who are professionals, and we consult with groups to the extent that they are interested to be consulted. But you have to be careful how you get into manifesto building involving ministries and ministry personnel for fear that you are accused of politicizing these organizations. So one has to be careful of that.
Dr. Chris Tufton, chairman of the JLP's campaign committee. Prime Minister and the JLP leader, Dr. Andrew Holness, announced on Sunday that the national minimum wage will be doubled from $16,000 to $32,000 on a phased basis. The first phased increase is set to take the minimum wage to $18,500 effective April 1. That's April 1, 2026. While welcoming the move, the president of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, believes the owners and operators of small businesses ought to have been consulted. Meanwhile, president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Metri Siaga, says Jamaica's minimum wage must reflect the realities of the economy.
Increases in wages generally, of which minimum wage is one of those increases, should be based on a couple of things. One, we do have a minimum wage commission, and we want to make sure that this passes the test of that minimum wage commission. Two, we want to make sure that wages are aligned to productivity. We cannot continue to be an unproductive society as we are, where our productivity levels keep flat or falling. We just can't continue that anymore. So the wages needs to reflect the increase in productivity. And thirdly, we feel that the wage increase should be tied to the inflation rate.
Metri Siaga, president of the private sector organization of Jamaica. The president of the Jamaica Employers Federation, Wayne Chen, says without an improvement in productivity, a change in the minimum wage will have limited impact.
We need to move to a high-skilled society. Only 40% of the Jamaican workforce have certified skills, and the world is rapidly changing. So upskilling and certainly identifying the skills that the global market is willing to pay for is critical. We have to build resilience into the economy. So we have to diversify away from our dependence on remittances, or dependence on tourism, or dependence on agriculture, which are all vulnerable to exogenous shocks. And as the COVID pandemic and most recently Hurricane Beryl has taught us, we are quite vulnerable as a small developing island economy.
Wayne Chen, president of the Jamaica Employers Federation, both himself and Metri Siaga were guests on Nationwide at 5 on Monday. And Chen says it's difficult to define what a livable wage means for Jamaicans.
We need to move to a high-skilled society. Only 40% of the Jamaican workforce have certified skills, and the world is rapidly changing. So upskilling and certainly identifying the skills that the global market is willing to pay for is critical. We have to build resilience into the economy. So we have to diversify away from our dependence on remittances, or dependence on tourism, or dependence on agriculture, which are all vulnerable to exogenous shocks. And as the COVID pandemic and most recently Hurricane Beryl has taught us, we are quite vulnerable as a small developing island economy.
However, the JEF president also believes a serious conversation about the matter cannot happen in the current political climate.
If any government in the past could have conjured it out, by just passing a law, it should have been done a long time ago. Clearly, it needs more than just a declaration of intent. It needs a whole ecosystem. A livable wage means a different thing in a different context. If Jamaica had a very robust social safety net, if we had, universal and good education, which we strive for, universal and freely accessible healthcare, which we strive for. But more than that, unemployment insurance, a good pension system, and so on and so forth, the wage would be less. Now, if you have to find those things on your own, if you have to go out and buy health insurance, if you have to go out and pay for private education or private lessons or whatever, the livable wage would be more. So,
Wayne Chen, president of the Jamaica Employers Federation. And as Jamaicans prepare to head to the polls on Wednesday, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, is calling on both political parties to keep their promises grounded in reality. The JMEA says while the manifestos of both parties highlight important areas of development, the campaign has been dominated by pledges that far exceed Jamaica's economic capacity. Robian Williams reports.
Among the proposals are reducing income tax to 15%, raising the tax threshold to $3.5 million, and doubling the minimum wage to $32,000. The JMEA says it supports better wages and improved living standards, but it stresses that there must be a credible roadmap to grow the economy to sustain such measures. Executive Director of the JMEA, Kamisha Blake, says Jamaica has long struggled with stagnant productivity, weak growth, and the challenges of a large informal economy. She argues that unless fundamentals such as skills, infrastructure, energy costs, and public sector efficiency are addressed, campaign promises will remain empty words. JMEA President Catherine Silvera warns that small manufacturers and exporters would be especially vulnerable to a sudden 100% wage hike. She says without strategies to improve productivity, businesses could be forced to raise prices or cut jobs, hurting the same workers such policies intend to help. The association's Deputy President Cecil Foster is urging both major political parties to exercise sobriety and responsibility. He says commitments should be based on fiscal discipline, data-driven policies, and consultation with stakeholders. In that regard, the JMEA has outlined several medium-term priorities. These include achieving 4 to 5% growth in gross domestic product GDP, lowering energy costs, further reducing crime, cutting the debt-to-GDP ratio to below 60% by 2027, expanding industrial infrastructure, and modernizing the public sector. The JMEA says it is time for sober leadership and practical, sustainable policies developed in partnership with the private sector rather than what it calls wild promises. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says his administration is committed to establishing a peaceful society through the continued reduction in major crime. Speaking at a mass rally in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Sunday, Holness repeated his vision for Jamaicans to be able to sleep with their windows and doors open.
In 2016, I stood at a meeting in St. James, just outside of where we now have the Zozo in Mount Salem. And I made a presentation. I said, I want Jamaicans to be able to sleep with their windows and doors open. And people ridicule the statement, but I know what God has in store for this country. I don't set my hat where I can reach it. I'm always stretching, pushing the boundaries, and it is the ambition to achieve peace in Jamaica. Why I made that ambitious statement that Jamaicans must have peace so we can sleep with our windows and doors open, and by God we are going to achieve it in this country.
Dr. Holness says if the JLP is re-elected, even greater effort will be made to advance peace building.
In 3 years, we have cut the murder rate by 55%. Some people thought it was never possible, but we did it. We did it using zones of special operations. Follow me. Tell me one community in Jamaica that is now at war with another community. Tell me that. Just think about it. Tell me one. We used states of public emergency. We invested over $90 billion in the capital budget of the security forces of Jamaica. We improved investigation, improved intelligence, improved operations of our security forces. And so today, Jamaica is moving in the right direction towards peace.
Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister. A new U-Report poll conducted by UNICEF Jamaica has highlighted widespread concern among young Jamaicans about their future. The survey has revealed that the top challenges among Jamaica's youth are jobs, cost of living, mental health, and crime. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The U-Report poll engaged over 500 youths aged 15 to 30. It has a 90% response rate. 37% of the respondents identified finding a better job as their biggest concern, while 28% pointed to the rising cost of living. Nearly half of the respondents said they were not confident they would find a good job locally, and 62% believed affordable housing is out of reach. Economic struggles are also evident, with 29% reporting that they often skip meals because of a lack of money, and 38% saying they sometimes do. Safety remains an issue as 60% felt only somewhat safe in their communities, and 12% did not feel safe at all. The findings also underscored migration concerns, as 71% said they would leave Jamaica if given the chance. 42% were unsure whether they see a future for themselves in the country, while 35% said they did. Political engagement appeared low, with 66% registered to vote, but only 30% very likely to cast a ballot. Many cited distrust in the political system, while others pointed to disinterest or registration barriers. When asked about the most important changes they want from leaders, 38% called for reduced cost of living. Another 33% wanted better jobs, while 12% highlighted access to quality education. In light of the results, UNICEF Jamaica is urging policymakers to expand youth employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It also called for improved housing access, strengthening mental health and community safety, as well as build civic trust. The survey was conducted between August 8 and 29, 2025. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Southeast Regional Health Authority, SERA, is advising the public that additional health centers in Kingston and St. Andrew will be temporarily closed on September 3. This to facilitate their use as polling stations on Wednesday for the general election. The Windward Road and Harborview Health Centers, along with the Edna Manley and the Denham Town Health Centers, will be used for voting. The other facilities in Kingston and St. Andrew that will be closed for the day are Olympic Gardens, Seaview Gardens, and Lawrence Tavern Health Centers. The public is also reminded that the Bartons and Riversdale centers in St. Catherine will both be used as polling stations. Additionally, the Landue Health Center in St. Thomas will also be closed. Members of the public are being urged to reschedule all appointments and seek medical care at other health facilities during the period. Regular services at the above-mentioned health facilities are expected to resume on Thursday, September 4. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, says all students will ride free of cost on its buses from September through October 2025. In a statement on Monday, the JUTC says students are required to present a valid school identification card or be dressed in their school uniform to benefit from the initiative. The company says this special provision forms part of ongoing efforts to ease the financial burden on parents and guardians at the start of the new academic year. Managing Director of JUTC, Owen Ellington, says the company is not just in the business of transportation, but also involved in nation building. He anticipates that the initiative will have a positive impact on thousands of students in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region and beyond. He says it will encourage punctuality, reduce absenteeism, and contribute to a smoother school term. International news now. Well, let's update you on what's happening in Guyana with regional news. Voting in Monday's elections in Guyana proceeded smoothly with only minor issues reported. That's according to the Organization of American States Election Observation Mission led by former Jamaica Prime Minister Bruce Golding. Golding said observers visited 340 polling stations across 7 regions by mid-morning. He said the majority of polling stations opened on time except for one where a polling compartment screen was missing. Nearly 750,000 people were registered to vote for candidates of the 6 political parties vying for leadership of the oil-rich nation. The election results are expected on Thursday. China's President Xi Jinping met with his Russian and North Korean counterparts in Beijing for the first time on Tuesday. The move is a show of solidarity with countries shunned by the West over their world in World War II, Europe's worst war in 80 years. Xi hosted Vladimir Putin for talks at the Great Hall of the People and then at his personal residence, describing him as a dear friend. According to Reuters, Kim Jong-un's armored train was spotted arriving in the Chinese capital a few hours later. The three are set to take center stage at a massive military parade on Wednesday, where the Chinese president is set to outline his vision for a new global order. This as U.S. President Donald Trump's America First policies strain Western alliances. Analysts are watching whether the trio may signal closer defense relations following a pact signed by Russia and North Korea in June 2024 and a similar alliance between Beijing and Pyongyang. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:17.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocharis, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
It's time for a new look.
And high time to get serious about protecting our home and investment.
It's time to choose BH Paints with over 60 years experience in quality paint finishes. Their products are superior and long-lasting.
Time to check them out.
Ask about BH Paint's 100% acrylic Ultima Plus paint and primer in one. Experience rich colors with advanced UV and mildew-resistant technologies, independently tested by experts. What are you waiting for? Visit a BH Paints Color Center today.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning again, Ludlow.
Morning, George. Morning again to you and listeners, motoring public or visitors. Yes, we have a lot of visitors coming in and those who have left. But to tell you, it's still pretty good going. I can also tell you that the boulevard down, the traffic flow has really increased on the eastbound leg. That is if you're on the Mandela coming in towards 6 miles and going along Washington Boulevard. The westbound lane, not a problem. Really, really free flowing. Just a few vehicles heading towards 6 miles. It's a similar situation along Spanish Town Road. However, remember, I always tell you, if you're on Spanish Town Road, then you don't need to go to 3 miles. And you need to get up to Hagley Park Road. And, even beyond that, there is also 2 roads, Henley Road and Henwood Road. Those roads take you to Bay Farm Road, and then you decide where do you want to go. But those of you on the boulevard, you need to get up to Manor Park. You have a lot of options. You have Duhaney Drive. You have Kenhill Drive, that's in Pembroke Hall. And you also have there's Bolines Road that can take you there. But I would say Kenhill Drive and although Duhaney Drive taking you to Aberville, then onto in that vicinity of Perkins Estate, there's always some traffic there because of the vehicles coming off the hill. But definitely Kenhill Drive is a good option. So Constant Spring, it's still flowing, but it increases as it gets closer, going past West Avenue into Harper Street. And remember, it is inevitable that Donner Avenue will always have a build-up at this time to go across to Constant Spring Road. In the meantime, Barbican Road is building, but you can still make your way. Vehicles coming off Russell Heights, Arcata Drive, and off Jackson Road, making its way towards Barbican Road and going across to East Kings also. There we go, our second report for the morning until tomorrow morning. Is it 6:45 a.m.? It's back to you, George, in the studio.
Thank you.
We call today the penultimate day, all right?
It's just election eve. It's just election eve.
Election eve.
Yeah,
Okay.
simple as that. Yeah, man. Thank you, Ludlow, there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned in to our discussion segment, The Front Page. As Jamaicans prepare to head to the polls, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, is calling on both political parties to keep their promises grounded in reality. The JMEA says while the manifestos of both parties highlight important areas of development, the campaign has been dominated by pledges that far exceed Jamaica's economic capacity. Robin Williams reports.
Among the proposals are reducing income tax to 15%, raising the tax threshold to $3.5 million, and doubling the minimum wage to $32,000. The JMEA says it supports better wages and improved living standards, but it stresses that there must be a credible roadmap to grow the economy to sustain such measures. Executive Director of the JMEA, Kamisha Blake, says Jamaica has long struggled with stagnant productivity, weak growth, and the challenges of a large informal economy. She argues that unless fundamentals such as skills, infrastructure, energy costs, and public sector efficiency are addressed, campaign promises will remain empty words. JMEA President Catherine Silvera warns that small manufacturers and exporters would be especially vulnerable to a sudden 100% wage hike. She says without strategies to improve productivity, businesses could be forced to raise prices or cut jobs, hurting the same workers such policies intend to help. The association's deputy president Cecil Foster is urging both major political parties to exercise sobriety and responsibility. He says commitments should be based on fiscal discipline, data-driven policies, and consultation with stakeholders. In that regard, the JMEA has outlined several medium-term priorities. These include achieving 4 to 5% growth in gross domestic product GDP, lowering energy costs, further reducing crime, cutting the debt-to-GDP ratio to below 60% by 2027, expanding industrial infrastructure, and modernizing the public sector. The JMEA says it is time for sober leadership and practical, sustainable policies developed in partnership with the private sector rather than what it calls wild promises. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Robian. Online now we have the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, Catherine Silvera. Good morning.
Good morning, George. Morning, Tana.
Morning. Good to have you here. Tell me, Catherine, how does the JMEA say that the increase in the minimum wage is likely to be damaging and describe it as sudden when the Prime Minister was at pains on Sunday to speak of the gradual nature of the move and the fact that it will be done on a phased basis?
Well, I think that you need to look at things that it hasn't been complete. What we're really calling for, and we have been calling for from before both political parties put out their manifestos, is that when putting out the manifestos, we want to see a systematic approach to see how we are going to achieve these goals and ideals. We 100% believe at the JMEA that all Jamaicans should be earning a livable wage, but we would need to see the steps. If we look at that from 2022 to let's say 2030, which is when we think we'll get to 32,000 if it is done over a phased approach. It is still a 357% increase over 8 years. And anything of that nature, we want to ensure that there are steps going to be taken to increase productivity and to allow for businesses to implement these wage increases realistically. You know, when we think about manufacturing, one of our top 5 input costs is wages, also security, also electricity. So security costs are also driven by minimum wage increases. So when, as a manufacturer, you're looking at rising costs, you have to do one of two things. You either have to cut costs or you have to raise your prices. And that's all that we are advocating for, is that we, as a country, our micro, our small, our medium enterprises is what drives the economy. And these are the persons that feel it the most when things are done without understanding what else is going to go into it in terms of raising productivity, increasing infrastructure, lowering energy costs, lowering security costs because of lowering of crime.
Would you say, Catherine, that the approach that the JLP is proposing with this minimum wage increase is grounded in reality, the phased approach that it is proposing instead of this, 100% hike?
I think that, yes, a phased approach is always going to be best, but we also have to look at the increases over that phased approach. And we're not saying that it cannot be done or that it should not be done. We just need to see it tied into other aspects of life. We do see that, under both political parties, they say that energy costs, the contract with JPS is going to be looked at, and it's not going to be the same thing that's going to be renewed in 2027. But again, that 2027 that we may see energy costs coming down. Businesses have to get to 2027 while other costs are increasing, which one of them could be minimum wage. A phased approach is best, and at the JMEA, we 100% believe that minimum wage is something that should be looked at every year. We think that maybe it should be tied into inflation as an increased percentage, but 100% it should be looked at every year, because for a number of years that was not done, and we got to a stage where drastic increases had to be implemented over a phased process.
Since 2016, Catherine, this minimum wage has moved by over 150%. And the very true things you mentioned about productivity, efficiencies, and all of that, those things have not gone up significantly. And yet, that 150% increase in the minimum wage, well over that, since 2016, have come at a time, and it's been concomitant, occurring along with the steep decline in unemployment across all demographic groups and an improvement in the country's fiscal balance, which does suggest that this thing can be done without disturbing the equilibrium in the economy. What is it then that gives the JMEA cause to doubt that the plan by the government as articulated will cause the disturbances that the movement from 2016 to now have not caused?
Well, I think that if you speak to small and micro and medium businesses, they may have found other aspects to cut, or they have also increased prices. We have not seen as a country the growth that we want to see. We're growing at 1% or slightly under, slightly above, depending on the quarter. But so the fact is that, yes, companies were able to absorb these increases. And I'm not an economist. I'm a sales and marketing
understood.
person. But I have to say that 100% on a smaller number is a small number. When you start getting into larger numbers and you have similar percentage increases, it's going to create a larger number. And so I understand that, coming from where we were from 2016, you can't put a 5% maybe to get you to where it is that you need to go. You have to do larger increases. And we're not saying that can't be done as well going forward over the next 5 years as a phased approach. We're just saying that other things need to align to ensure that we're also not driving inflation and driving price increases, that the same persons that now have a little bit more in their earning are going to have to go out and pay. So it's just a consolidated approach and a collaborative approach that what we're pressing is that government, public sector, private sector, it has to be a collaborative approach when we're talking about things of this nature.
Hold the line for us, Catherine. Taking a break and coming right back. This is Nationwide this morning. We have the company of the president of the JMEA.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:32.
Following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We estimate that there are about 20 to 25,000 who are unemployed because they do not have any skill. They are a loss to our economy. And we have tasked hard to find these 25,000. Go out into the communities, put on your training fairs, have specific agents out there doing your reconnaissance and surveillance and finding these youngsters. Get them into your training program. Offer them stipends and bus fare and lunch money. But more than that, what they need mentoring. Because oftentimes they simply do not know about the opportunities that exist. They exist on the periphery of the system and they are skeptical of the system and they don't believe that the system is set up for them. Your country needs you.
Be smart. Choose hard.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica's largest tile selection just got even bigger. Discover what's new at Active Home Center. With our latest arrivals, it's easier than ever to make your space truly unique. Explore ocean blues, botanical greens, and soft sandy neutrals that bring a calm, effortless vibe. From bold patterns to sleek, large format tiles in glossy or matte finishes, every room makes a statement. Shop now at Active Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, having a conversation with the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, Catherine Silvera. Catherine, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
One of the aspects of the press release that was sent out by the JMEA yesterday speaks to the matter of productivity, speaks to the matter of whichever party forms government, focusing more on skills and energy prices and all of that. I'm sure you have gone through both manifestos. What have you seen in both, or what have you heard on the political hustings from the leaders of both parties that gives you confidence that both are focusing on these important issues that the JMEA is referring to?
Certainly, we have seen that there is strong alignment with both political parties with a lot of the mandates that we have at the JMEA, especially when it comes to education and skills development and training. The PNP speaks to Industry 4.0, the JLP speaks to the achievements that they have done and increasing STEM centers and skills development. At the JMEA, we have a MOU with Heart Trust, where we focus on moving persons from Heart Trust into employment within the different organizations through an internship program where Heart does pay a salary, a stipend, and we ask our manufacturers to match that stipend as well to be able to encourage employment into the manufacturing and exporting sector, but also helping to develop the skills that Heart is working with them. So we do see alignment in both political parties. We do want to see whichever government forms as of Thursday. We want to see the focus in making sure these manifestos are implemented within a very short frame of time.
When you say fundamentals such as skills must be paid, great attention must be paid to that, whomever forms the next administration, what exactly is the JMEA looking for in a next administration focusing on skills in Jamaica?
I think we're looking to see that the government will encourage and through HART and STA and other tertiary institutions, that they will help to funnel the workforce or more Jamaicans into training and skills development. We're looking for logistics, we are looking for machinery, we're looking for technology, we're looking for AI. These are all realities that manufacturers and exporters are going to be facing to raise ourselves to be competitive with the worldwide manufacturing that's going on. So it's a reality that our skills have done well over the past few years, and we need to build on that and expand it out even more.
The issue of labor, Catherine, I mean, it's something that bothers me immensely. I note where it is that both parties plan to take us where economic growth is concerned, and I know the labor constraints now. Have you seen anything in the manifesto to suggest to you that the future for labor, skilled labor, will be able to match the expansion needs of your members in the organization?
I think that, yes, it is there in both manifestos. I think that it is something that's, again, a collaborative partnership between public and private sector and government. The reality is that most businesses, to become even more competitive with the global landscape, they are going to have to invest in AI and in technology. That does mean that maybe people may be employed in the future, but the persons that are employed are going to be paid better because of the skills that they will need to have to be able to operate the machinery, operate the technology, get that productivity and that growth that is necessary. So it's not an immediate tomorrow instance, but it is something that both political parties have to realize that they need to focus on if they form government as of Thursday, that has a focus that has to be implemented in a short period of time, because the global landscape is changing rapidly.
You are the real drivers of growth in the private sector. How many of your members have over the last 5 to 10 years invested in training the staff they already have to ensure that they are dancing a yard before they dance abroad, Catherine?
Oh, I would say that it's a large number of our members that have recognized that training and further education is a necessity and part of our budget. They have also invested in technology and upskilling both their machinery as well as staff. So I would say it's a large number of our members. We recognize that we have access now to see what our other manufacturers and what other countries are doing. So we're not being left behind. We are investing in our people and in our companies, definitely.
Yeah. The state of the economy now and what it can take has been the subject of much debate, especially in light of what both parties are promising to do through their respective manifestos. Is this an economy that needs further straightening out, further institutional strengthening to put it in shape to go the growth route that many people desire, or is it ready now to make that next step?
I think that there is still things that need to be strengthened, and we see that in both political manifestos. Infrastructure definitely has to be strengthened. The road network systems, the port systems, skills still need to be developed. There's a number of things that we still need to strengthen to be able to capture that growth that we do need as a country. Do I think we're in a better place than we have been in the past? Certainly. Do I think that things in the past have slowed down this process? Yes, but we are growing. We are getting better. We have a number of things that we can celebrate. Crime being down over 40%, low unemployment rate. Our debt to GDP has come down. There are things that we can celebrate and that are putting us in the right direction. And so I do think that both political parties have recognized that and they have put in plans in their manifestos. What I think a lot of private sector still wants to see is how are they going to implement their manifestos? What's the timeline on the implementation for us to be able to really and truly see the growth?
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning for your time, Catherine. All the best to you.
Thank you both. Pleasure to be here this morning.
Good. Catherine Silvera, she is president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Up next, we'll check in with the Director of Elections.
Savor the flavor and win with Bird Shack Fried Chicken Summer Vibes promotion. Spend $1,000 or more at any store this August and win weekly prizes of JBL speakers or earbuds, plus a grand prize of a 50-inch smart TV. Bird Shack Fried Chicken. Real flavor, real vibes.
The time brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken is
7:42.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
I want something really nice, thanks and please. Burger King, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas. I want something really nice, thanks and please. BK, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas. Cheese and peas, man, I like. I got my set when I taste the new cheesy fries. Just 5 bills with creamy cheese sauce. Or load it up your way, you are the boss. Everybody sing this part. I want something really nice, thanks and please. BK, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas. Get the new cheesy fries, limited time only at Burger King.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
As we get ready to check in with the Director of Elections, Glasspool Brown, the man whose name will be called so many times over the next 48 hours, his ears will ring, I'm sure. Before we go there, just to highlight a couple milestones on our electoral journey from the administrative perspective, Tana. And there's a very useful document on the EOJ's website, the training manual for election day workers, that has so much information in it. We were going through a part of it yesterday in our production meeting here at Nationwide. 1953, it says the Electoral Office of Jamaica was transferred from the control of colonial officials, which had been the case since 1663, to a ministry and therefore under the control of a minister. The first election contested with the EOJ being under a ministry was the general election of January 1955. Adult suffrage was firmly entrenched. The electoral machinery, the EOJ, was under ministerial control, but the 3 general elections and 1 referendum it had conducted saw the governing party losing 3 times. Indeed, the government had changed twice in the 3 general elections. In other words, the winner-take-all electoral system, which was widespread in the world and part of the entire history of the colony, appeared to have operated impartially based upon electoral outcomes over the first decade of ministerial control. 1966, listen to this. In response to concerns about widespread voter impersonation, legislation was introduced to allow for the fingerprinting of voters. Although the intention was to use fingerprints for authentication, particularly in inner-city communities where it was alleged that the prevalence of impersonation was high, For many years, there was minimal use of the fingerprints taken. And then this is a part that we carried in our Did You Know yesterday in 5 o'clock news. There were numerous allegations, 1976 now, there were numerous allegations of underage voting, voter intimidation, gerrymandering, ballot stuffing, theft, tampering of ballot boxes, malpractice reported during the general election, particularly in the constituencies of Western St. Andrew and Southwest St. Andrew. This resulted in 13 election petitions being filed and 21 constituencies, 21 of 60, requesting magisterial recounts. It was clear that despite all the work that had been done to address the organization of elections in Jamaica, the electoral process required further administrative improvement. The electoral system needed to be insulated from partisan politics and the abuse of state power in the pursuit of political gain. And the last part, 1979, the Electoral Advisory Committee was established as a corporate body with membership comprising representatives of the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and independent Jamaicans who were given the responsibility to oversee the electoral process and advise the Director of Elections.
And the Director of Elections, Glaspell Brown, is on the line. Good morning to you.
Dear listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Mr. Brown, 7:47. How do you look now? All systems go? Ready for tomorrow?
Well, we have basically completed our preparation. We think we are at a good place to deliver a good election come tomorrow.
And what should voters do tomorrow before showing up at a polling station?
That's two critical things. One, make sure that you find your ID card, more so your renewed ID card. That will help the process in terms of the smoother processing of you when you go to your polling station. And then you need also to do as best as possible to try and identify where your polling station is. And there are a number of ways to do that. You could either call your constituency offices, or you could call our toll-free number at the Electoral Office of Jamaica, or you could call into our switchboard. And also you could go on your website, on our website, the ECJ website, at www.ecj.com.jm, and then click on query, and that will guide the process in terms of where exactly you're supposed to be voting. I must say, though, that a few persons seem to be getting error message, but what I urge you to do, ensure that when you go on that side and you plug in your information in terms of your name and your date of birth, it reflects the exact thing that is on your ID card. Therefore, if you have a double-barrel name and it's hyphenated, make sure you put in that as note in it. And in terms of your birth, it requires a slash, so you put in all of that information. So just ensure that you put in the exact information that's on your ID card, and it will carry to the side that will give you your polling station location. So that's critical. So walk with your ID card first, and make sure you identify where your polling station is.
Once they've showed up at the polling station now, what steps should they follow up on arrival?
All right, you follow an instruction of the EOJ personnel. And at each location, we're having a supervisor who manages location on behalf of the Electoral Office of Jamaica. You'll also have other persons who the security forces will be there, the other one-day policemen who assist the process. But follow whatever instruction there is and try and identify your location, because at your police station, at some location, there might be a number of stations, and then go straight to that polling station and then follow the instruction that is given to you by the presiding officer. There's no need for you to get any other instruction apart from the instruction that is given to you, certainly in terms of the voting process by your presiding officer and the Electoral Office of Jamaica supervisor. In terms of the security side and the proper flowing of entry in and out of the polling station, the security forces are there to assist with that process.
I have a grand aunt, Director Morning, who was around long enough to have voted in the referendum in the early 1960s, and because of her lived experience, she still remains convinced that there are flaws with the process, and it is prone to acts of malpractice and everything. Notwithstanding all I say to her, I just read a brief part of the history of the EOJ and the EAC and where it has been coming from and the changes that have been made over time. Say something to those folks who have doubts about the integrity of the system you preside over, the integrity of their vote once they put it in the box, and the ability of evil actors to affect the process negatively.
All right. You read that history, as I alluded to earlier on. The process has come a long way over the last couple of years. Let us start in terms of the registration process. The process that we have now is that you first go to your constituency office, you get registered, and then there are certain verification process that we go through. One is that we now capture your fingerprint. And every person's fingerprint is compared with the entire database. In the database, we have in excess of 2.1 million, close to 2.5 million fingerprint database. And your individual database is compared with that. And your individual fingerprint is compared with that database. Therefore, nobody can be on the voters list more than once. When you go through in terms of your casting your ballot, after you're given that instruction by the presiding officer, you go behind the voting booth. Nobody can trace your ballot to your name. Because what happens, there's no linkage to you as a voter to that individual ballot that you mark on and that you place in the ballot box. You'll notice that when you complete the process and you go to the presiding officer, the presider remove as part of the ballot which have a serial number that is not put in the box itself. So therefore, there's no tracing of you in terms of that ballot that is cast. And there are some checks and balances in the system in terms of preventing stuffing, etc., ballot box. What is different now, George, is that the authority, that the constitutional authority, can abort a voting process in a single polling station and rerun that particular polling station. I don't know if you remember the situation with the current Prime Minister.
1997, Dr. Warren Blake was his rival. I remember it very well. We spoke about it in our production meeting here, sir.
Right, that happened then. So the law has significantly advanced in terms of preventing some of those things taking place. So it's a waste of your time to even steal a ballot box. No, it's a waste of your time to really top up a ballot box because the process allows for it to be done over.
Yeah, I want you to just bear with me here because, again, you hear things as a journalist, director, where you wonder, well, are people still thinking that way? And I have been asked by persons if certain individuals can know how a group of people vote because they say, make sure you vote this way and we can find out. And I keep telling him that was a thing of the past. That used to happen. It can't happen again. Can I get it from you that can't happen again?
Well, it can't happen again because there's no tracing of the ballot to you as an individual.
Yes.
There's no linkage or such. You know, it's how we do in terms of special voting. So therefore, we have the police and the JDS and the election day workers. Nobody can trace any of those grouping to how they vote on the special voting day. Because what we do is that for example, in special voting day, the police and the army and the election day workers individually, they vote across the island, their ballot is placed in a sealed envelope, then it is taken into Kingston, sorted, and then sent back out under security, accompanied by the agent of both political parties, back into the individual constituencies. And then it is then opened and put in a ballot box, and it's counted among the vote that is cast on the general election day, which will be on September 3rd. So it's very difficult for you to trace back as to where or to who the person cast their ballot for. And if you put certain indication on your ballot, like certain signage that will sort of lead to who you are, those ballots in effect is normally rejected and it's not part of the counting process. If a man comes and put 2 zeros and then send that as a signal to somebody that it is my vote, most likely and in most cases, those ballots will be rejected.
Yeah. There's something that caught our eye yesterday as we went through the election training day manual that you have on your website, Director. It concerns that little part, Tona, about the indoor agent and the candidate who has appointed them to oversee on their procedure not being in the polling station together for more than 5 minutes. Does that still hold, Director? And what's the punishment for what's the penalty for that for candidate and his or her indoor agent being in the polling station for more than 5 minutes together?
It still holds. The law does not allow for both of you to be there. The penalty is, there's not really a sanction as such, but the presiding officer will request of you or one of them to come to vacate the polling station.
Yeah.
And the presiding have that authority to say to them, one of them, you have to leave.
Yeah.
So the time limit is 5 minutes, and you have to abide by that.
And the presiding officer is watching his or her clock once that happens. Once the two of them come together, the clock starts to be watched.
That's correct.
Yes. In those instances, again, I know, sometimes, you know how these things go, Director. It's 4 o'clock and things heated, candidate getting a report that, boy, not enough people have come, and candidate turns up at a particular polling station and heated words with presiding officer, expletives are used. We've seen famous cases of that in the past. What's your advice? Well, what's the advice that the EOJ gives to its staff who come under this kind of pressure from political actors on the day?
All right, that's why we carefully select the person that we select as our supervisors and our presiding officers. We guide them through the practical training, which hopefully they will deal with that pressure. And there's a customer service side to it in terms of our training. But I must say, though, that I appeal to the electorate to be very patient. The voting time is 10 hours. It opens from 7 to 5 p.m. So we have a 10-hour window. And therefore, we just urge person to be patient. If you are in the line at 5 p.m., you will be allowed to cast your ballot. So therefore, the process ends at the point where the last person in the line at 5 p.m. is allowed to cast their ballot. And therefore, again, just remember that 10 hours voting period. There's a tendency for everybody to come early in the morning, and I understand why. I understand the rationale behind it. But I say, though, if you stagger your time, if you go a little bit later, certainly, and in most cases, after 1 p.m., based on the trend in the past, you find that it's much easier to get through in terms of the process. And the long lines are not necessarily usually there. So we have a 10-hour windows for person, and just appeal for person to be patient and follow the instruction that is given to them by our team of workers at a different location.
Have some of our YouTubers, Mr. Brown, one of them said, I tried the query in the site again and I'm getting invalid IP address. And I did get a message in my WhatsApp that says, ask him if he's aware that the ECJ website has a glitch. People are getting an invalid notification and it has been for a couple of days now. It's not a matter of inputting incorrect information.
Well, I've got some that was brought to my attention, but I was told that that will be addressed. We were told that as the person that you must be careful in terms of the spelling that you put, make sure you're spelling it correct. Everything that's on your ID card, it works. I'll also talk to my IT people as I go into office shortly.
Hear you on that. The people, Director, they vote early because they want to enjoy Nationwide's coverage all day. Anyway.
Just before you go, Glasspool Brown, a reminder to those who are eligible to vote, because somebody called just moments ago saying they don't have the new ID and they're wondering if they can vote.
As long as you're on the voters list, you can so cast you will be allowed as long as you're on the list, whether I have the new or the old ID card. The difference is that, and I noticed that you collected your card recently, Donna.
Yes, I did, for sure.
The process must be much faster. However, if you don't have your card, you'll be required to take a note, and it could add a couple more minutes to the time that you're in the line.
There you go.
Thank you this morning, sir.
Okay.
All the best to you, Director of Elections, Glasspool Brown. Well, I don't have the ID, you know. So the people at that Church of God, right beside the cemetery where I'm coming to vote, bear with me, yeah? And with this may I come, I can't stand up in the line and talk to you alone. You know, just bust me, make me just...
Answer the question them fast and correctly.
Come back at town, quick and fast.
Make your oath fast and do what you have to do.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me Kendall. When it's all Kendel. Give me Kendall.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me Kendall.
The time by Kendall Foods. The taste of quality is
8:01.
Success powered by learning. The temperature brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, I'm Tona Thomas. The Southeast Regional Health Authority says a number of health centers in the region will be closed on September 3. This is to facilitate their use as polling stations during Wednesday's general election. In Kingston and St. Andrew, they include the Wynwood Road and Harborview Health Centers, along with the Edna Manley and Denhamtown facilities. The health centers in Olympic Gardens, Seaview Gardens, and Lawrence Tavern will also close. In addition, Sarah says the Bartons and Riversdale Health Centers in St. Catherine will be used as polling stations. The Landui Health Center in St. Thomas will also be closed. Members of the public are being urged to reschedule all appointments and seek medical care at other health facilities during the period. Regular services at the above-mentioned health centers are expected to resume on Thursday, September 4. The police are seeking the public's help locating a Trelawney mother and child who have been missing since Saturday, August 31. They are 25-year-old Jadine Cunningham and 3-year-old Azora Hammonds, otherwise called Chosen. They are from Mendedstown, Waitabit in the parish. Cunningham is of fair complexion, slim build, and about 5 feet 6 inches tall. She has a short hair and a nose piercing. Baby Azora is of fair complexion, slim build, and is about 2 feet 10 inches tall. Reports from the Waitabit police are that Cunningham left home with Azora around 2 p.m. Saturday. She reportedly returned alone, then packed a bag and left again in a white station wagon motor car. Cunningham was wearing a blue dress and a pair of brown slippers at the time. Azora's mode of dress is unknown. The family says all efforts to locate them have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Jadine Cunningham and Azora Hammonds is urged to contact the Waitabit police at 876-617-9784, the 119 police emergency number or the nearest police station. Frome Technical High School student Lizanie Rose has won the 2025 National Youth in Agriculture Award for pimento grafting. Rose, an 18-year-old sixth former, is a 4-H club member and a youth farmer. Grafting is the process of joining two plants together so that they can grow as one. Advantages include a better survival rate for the plant, improved adaptation to unfavorable soil and climate conditions, and early production of fruit. Rose describes planting as being around animals as fun and inspiring. She says that she entered the National Youth in Agriculture competition to learn more about the pimento industry, which contributes 90% to Jamaica's spice exports. The award was presented at the 71st Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show in Clarendon on August 2. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Tuesday morning, Tuesday, September 2, 2025. I'm Tawna Thomas.
all registered electors are allowed time off to vote on election day. Under the law, every employer shall permit employees to be absent from work on polling day for 3 hours in addition to the normal lunch hour. This does not apply to employees who begin work at 10 a.m. or after or end work at 2 p.m. or earlier. Remember, time off to vote on election day is your right. That was an important announcement from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Looking for a gym that's got it all? Welcome to Express Fitness, where fitness meets convenience. With 24/7 access, you can work out whenever it suits you. And with island-wide locations, we're always close by anywhere and anytime. Love classes? We've got them. From aerobics to dance to spin, you name it, we've got it. Our certified trainers are here to take you on a journey. Call us at 888-FITNESS or visit our website at expressfitnessja.com. Express Fitness, your goal or mission.
This is the Race to 32, the battle for Jamaica House and the issues that matter. Your voice, your vote.
Today on Inside the Ballot Box, we explore a pivotal era in Jamaica's political history. The fierce ideological clash of the 1970s and 80s. The People's National Party (PNP), led by Michael Manley, championed democratic socialism, aiming to uplift the poor through state-led reform and stronger ties with countries like Cuba. In contrast, the Jamaica Labour Party (JLP), under Edward Seaga, promoted free market policies, reduced government intervention, and closer alignment with the United States. This ideological divide not only shaped policy, but also intensified political tensions across the nation. This is Inside the Ballot Box with Cliff Hughes. Explain the ideological struggle between the two big parties that defined elections in the 1970s and 80s.
It begins with a little history. At the start of the two major political parties, the People's National Party started in 1938, and their ideological mentor, so to speak, was the British Labour Party. And the British Labour Party was a democratic socialist party, yeah? And that was where, or what they call Fabian socialism, their ideology, yeah, their political mantra was Fabian socialism, where they were focused on delivering socialist policies that favored the working class of the United Kingdom and Great Britain within the framework of parliamentary democratic elections. While the Jamaica Labour Party, that was founded by Bustamante in 1943, started as a political party and an affiliate virtually or an associate of the trade union, Bustamante Trade Union, Industrial Trade Union. And that party was always a more conservative, liberal, capitalist party. They got a lot of support from the local capitalist class in Jamaica. While the PNP, that was mainly supported by the professional classes, the intelligentsia in Jamaica, the nurses, the teachers, the doctors, they saw themselves as more a party, a movement that was going to replace the colonial leadership that was under British colonialism, and they wanted now control of their own destiny. They tended to be far more liberal in terms of their thinking and idea. However, ideology didn't really surface in Jamaican politics until about 1974, when Michael Manley assumed the leadership of the PNP from his father in 1969. His father retired as PNP president in 1969. Michael Manley assumed the leadership in 1969 and led the party to victory in those famous elections of 1972, February of 1972. And within 2 years, Michael Manley, supported by a number of people in the People's National Party, thought, given the social decay, the social inequity in Jamaica, the structure of the economy being so heavily skewed towards the elites, the economic elites, he felt it was time for the PNP to assert its democratic socialist policies that led to its formation in 1938. And in 1974, he declared that the official policy of the People's National Party, the government of Jamaica, was democratic socialism. That caused a whole lot of turmoil, turbulence in the country, because up until then, the capitalists, entrepreneurs, business people, classes, thought and were comfortable that they were in control in Jamaica until one of their own, Michael Manley, yes, Father Manley's son, brown man, felt that no, this cozy relationship between the state and the capitalist class had run its course. It was time to change it in favor of social justice and, most importantly, the redistribution of wealth, yes, so that the gap, the big gap between the working class, the working poor, and the business class, the business elites, the social elites in Jamaica, that gap had become so big, it threatened the very fabric of the society. Yes? And Michael Manley came to power in 1972, on the slogan, better must come. Yes? And by better must come, meaning that time to use the levers, the powers of the state, the government of Jamaica, to redistribute wealth in the society. So he came up with a whole raft of legislation, policies that sought to close that gap, both not only in terms of physical wealth, but also in terms of self-esteem. That was when, for example, the Bastardy Act, bastards, you know about bastards, when you are born out of wedlock, you are discriminated against because your parents were not married when you were conceived and born, And it started a whole period, a ferment in the country, At first, it was very popular, so much so that Michael Manley and the PNP won a massive re-election in December 1976. But by 1976, problems started to emerge because their management of the economy suffered badly. People started to reconsider their position in the country. People who owned capital, people who did business. And then the word started to get out that the Jamaican government was beginning to be a socialist government. Michael Manley himself used rhetoric that alarmed people about walking to the mountaintop with Fidel Castro of Cuba. America didn't like that. And he started to get backlash, both locally and externally, which led to the ideological struggle now. Because Seaga, who assumed leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party in 1974, lost the 76 election And immediately after losing the 76th election, yes, started to pressure the Manley administration on the basis that, listen, there are now two clear paths available to Jamaicans. The democratic socialist path of the then incumbent Manley administration, or what Seaga was promulgating, that is, liberal capitalism, where freedoms are guaranteed. The JLP started a campaign that, listen, the PNP want, if you had 10 goats or 10 cows, the PNP wanted you to give up 5 and distribute to other people. It was an intensely fought period of propaganda. And propaganda is not necessarily truthful. And that plunged the country into a period of political violence, where people felt that they were defending Jamaica's future. And the two political parties armed their gunmen, their supporters, right across the country. And after 75, 76, we just went down a slippery slope until the most violent election in our history occurred in 1980. And that period scarred Jamaica. We became more coarse, as a people towards each other. Violence was almost normalized, normalized to the point where we now, up until recent, when we killed 1,500 people on a nothing, communities were invaded by gunmen of a different political persuasion, and 5 people shot and killed, and that became normal. So it scarred the society.
The 1980 general election in Jamaica was marred by political violence, and one tragic incident that stood out was the killing of People's National Party PNP's candidate, Roy McGann. Cliff, can you recount the incident that resulted in the killing of PNP's candidate, Roy McGann, ahead of the 1980s general election?
That was a very tough period. Roy McGann was a minister of government. I think he was a minister of state in the Ministry of National Security. He was also the People's National Party's candidate or prospective candidate for East Rural St. Andrew. He was the Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew and was about to be renominated, on nomination day, when the night or a day before nomination day, it was either 24 hours or 48 hours before nomination day, there was a meeting in Gordon Town in the constituency. And up to today, there are conflicting reports as to what really happened. But what is beyond doubt, there was a confrontation between rival party political supporters. There was a lot of tension in the country and in the constituency that was being bedeviled by violence, political violence. And during the confrontation on that night, guns were drawn, shots were fired, and Mr. McGann was shot. He later died. I remember the night as an 18-year-old PNP activist in East Kingston and Port Royal when the news came through that Roy McGann had been killed, some people say assassinated. The fear that gripped our community and frankly the whole country, because up until then, no minister or politician had been killed. I think Ferdy Yap was a politician who was shot, but he survived. Roy McGann was the first to be killed. Some PNP people say he was assassinated, and they point the fingers at Joan Gordon Webley, who was then just Joan Gordon and the candidate for the Jamaica Labour Party against Roy McGann, right? And she became a hate figure for the PNP, because many people hold her responsible. Of course, that was never proven in a court of law. And what do we have today? Irony of ironies. Joan Gordon is now a member of the People's National Party and its candidate for West Rural St. Andrew against Juliet Cuthbert Flynn 40 years on. But to complete my answer, I think it represented a very, very low watershed for us in Jamaica. It marked a point where history can never forget what happened in Gordon Town on the night before nomination day when we killed a minister of government. But it should be no surprise, because the same history will have to record that we had killed about 800 Jamaicans in the run-up to those elections. And fortunately, we have pulled back from that.
Are you living with HIV? It's time to access treatment, get back to business, and begin your path to a brighter, healthier future. The time brought to you by Jamaica AIDS Support for Life is
8:22.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Who want something really nice, thanks and please. Burger King, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas. Who want something really nice, thanks and please. BK, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas. Cheese and peas, man, I like. I got say when me taste the new cheesy fries. Just 5 bills with creamy cheese sauce. Or load it up your way, you are the boss. Everybody sing this part. Who want something really nice, thanks and please. BK, new cheesy fries, cheese and peas.
Get the new cheesy fries, limited time only at Burger King.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy, for everything solar.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Good day. I'm Chuko Emeka Cameron and I'll be your host for today, and this is Data Protection Matters. I've been receiving a number of calls over the last 5 days, and we are at the height of the election season, and it is no surprise. and I do want to look at it from a strictly data protection perspective. So I have been receiving a number of calls from persons in a specific constituency saying that they have been receiving unsolicited calls from a campaign team. And I say unsolicited, these are persons who never shared their number with any specific campaign, yet they're receiving calls. We'll break that down for you today because this isn't just wrong, it is illegal, and we'll tell you exactly what you can do about it. So let me paint you a picture of what I've been hearing. So think about it. You're at home with your family when your phone rings. The voice on the other end claims to be from a political campaign. They know your name, your constituency, maybe even your polling station. But here's the thing. You never gave them your number. You never signed up for their calls. And the caller says something like this at the end of the conversation. If you're not sure who to vote for, it's better you stay home on election day. Don't waste your time. Friends, what you have just heard is not political strategy. It is voter suppression. And under Jamaican law, it's illegal on multiple fronts. Persons have complained to me that they are receiving unsolicited calls from campaigns that somehow obtain their personal phone numbers without permission, without consent, and without any legal right to use them. Let's look at the election law. Under the Representation of People Act, what we call ROPA, Section 93, specifically addresses something called undue influence. Okay, I understand that's legal language, but hear what it means in plain English. Nobody can try to stop you from voting or pressure you to stay home. When a candidate or their team tells voters to stay home if they are not sure, they are breaking this law. They are attempting to impede or prevent what the law calls the free exercise of your franchise, which is your fundamental right to vote. There are some serious penalties attached. We're talking about elections being declared void, criminal charges. It is not just a slap on the wrist. Other sections of ROPA go even further. While it specifically prohibits influencing voters near polling stations on election day, the principle extends throughout the entire campaign. You cannot use improper influence to affect how people vote or whether they vote at all. Think about it. In a constituency where elections are won by just hundreds of votes, convincing even a small group of undecided voters to stay home could change the outcome. So, let's look at it through the data protection eyes, as this affects every single person listening, whether you vote or not. How did these campaigns get your phone number in the first place if you did not give it to them? Under Jamaica's Data Protection Act, your personal information, including your phone number, is protected by law. Let me break this down. To legally use your phone number for political campaigning, they need one of two things. Either your explicit consent, that means you specifically said, yes, you can call me, or they need what is called a legitimate interest that doesn't override your privacy rights. Getting your number from some random list, not legal. Buying data from someone who shouldn't have sold it, not legal. Using numbers meant for other purposes, definitely not legal. The Data Protection Act isn't a suggestion. It carries serious teeth. We're talking about up to $5 million or 4% of annual turnover, whichever is higher. For individual victims, there can be compensation orders. And in serious cases, criminal prosecution. Now, some people might say, so what? It's just a phone call. Just hang up. No, this is bigger than phone calls. This is about the integrity of our entire democratic system. When candidates tell uncertain voters to stay home, they're not trying to win your vote. They're trying to silence your voice. They're betting that their committed supporters will show up while discouraging everyone else. That's not winning an election. That's rigging the game. And the Data Protection Act violation, today it's your phone number. Tomorrow it could be your medical records, your children's school information, your financial data, if we don't draw the line here. Every democracy in the world is built on two pillars: free and fair elections and the rule of law. When candidates violate both, When they seek to suppress votes while breaking privacy laws, they're attacking both pillars at the same time. This isn't about party politics. Regardless of your persuasion, this should outrage you, because today it might be happening to people you disagree with, but tomorrow it could be you. So what can you do? First, if you have received these calls, document everything. Write down the date, the time, what was said, and if possible, the number that called you. This isn't just for your protection. It's evidence that could void an election if this influenced the result. Second, report it. Contact the Electoral Commission of Jamaica or the Electoral Office immediately. For the date protection violations, file a complaint with the Information Commissioner. These are your rights, and these offices exist specifically to protect them. Third, tell others. Share this information with your family, your church, your community groups. Many people receiving these calls don't know they're illegal. They might actually stay home thinking they're doing the right thing. They need to know the truth. If you are a victim of this, you might be entitled to compensation under the Data Protection Act. But more importantly, your report could trigger an investigation that protects thousands of other voters. Jamaica, we fought too hard for a democracy to let it be undermined by digital age dirty tricks. Our ancestors could not vote. They fought so we could. And now someone wants you to trick you into throwing that right away. No candidate who truly believes in their message, who truly wants to serve the people, would tell voters to stay home. They would want every voice heard, every vote counted, win or lose. That's democracy. And no legitimate campaign needs to steal your personal data. If they want your support, they should earn it, not trick their way into your phone. Remember, your vote is your voice. Nobody, not a candidate, not a campaign, not anyone has the right to silence it. And if they try, the law is on your side. If you have experienced what we discussed this morning, do not stay silent. Report it, document it, because this isn't just about one election, it's about every election that comes after. Your vote, your voice, your choice, don't let anyone take that away. So this has been not your normal Data Protection Matters, but as you can see, it strikes at the heart of how third parties seek to use your personal data for their own personal purposes. This has been Data Protection Matters, and I'm your host, Chuka Emeka Cameron. See you next time.
Well, listeners, I had to just come in on the tail of this to tell you that, we've been made to understand that this piece was motivated by something that is happening in a particular constituency, I won't say which one, where apparently one candidate is alleged to be calling constituents on their mobile phones, saying to them that, listen, I would like your support, your vote on election day. And if you are not minded to vote for me, then, I think it would be best if you stayed home. We know the candidate against whom that charge has been made, which party the candidate represents. But of course, we can't say on air because we don't know if a complaint has been filed, and, we have to be careful. But that's what I have been told, and I've been told further about where the source of the phone numbers that candidate has taken possession of may have come from, which is an even bigger issue for me. So tomorrow is election day. Perhaps it is that there'll be something said of this in the next 48 hours or so, but hugely troubling reports that a certain candidate has taken custody of a database with people's personal cell phone numbers and has been calling. That's what the allegation is. I won't mention any name or any party or anything, though those things have been said to us. But politics time.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
The time by Grace Good Move is
8:35.
A healthier you is brought to you by Express Fitness. Your goal is our mission.
.36 on the clock. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Jamaica Cancer Society are at the forefront of the fight against the spread of the disease locally. Prostate cancer remains the leading cause of cancer-related death among Jamaican men, and the month serves as a reminder for men to get informed, get screened, and to take action, because early detection improves treatment success and saves lives. For more on prostate care, awareness, symptoms, and treatment, I'm being joined by Senior Lecturer in Urology and Consultant Urological Surgeon, Professor William Aiken. We're trying to get Professor Aiken on the line. A couple of big questions to ask. How big of a threat is prostate cancer to Jamaican men today? What does the data say? What are the symptoms that men should look for? That issue about the age that the first screening should happen, and at what intervals you should get those screenings done. Screening methods available, because boy, the traditional one is rough, you know. Rough. Yeah. What can men do in terms of lifestyle changes? All of those things we want some perspectives on this morning, and we're trying to get through to Professor William Aiken. Just to say that tomorrow, for the Election Day coverage, we'll start as usual. So you NTMers, you don't get a day off, you know. Yeah? I want to start late. Right on the bell of 6 o'clock, you better tune in. We'll be doing news at the top of the hour, of course, and we're going to come down to our usual features that we'll have. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll have news. And then after the 7 o'clock news, we'll get into the coverage where we'll link with our reporters and correspondents all across the island. We have made provision for people to vote, cast their ballots, and then pick up their assignments. So you won't necessarily hear from people the first time in the seat, in the parish, in the seat, the constituency that they were working, because we could catch them when they're at their polling station in their constituency. We have several country people in the news. In fact, Mahir is from Manchester, a Mandeville man. Shaloi is from Trelawney. Tona is from St. Elizabeth. Ricardo come from country, and I come from St. Austin. Ricardo is the out Bullbay side, countryman, because Bullbay a country. Chevron is originally a Clarendon man, but he lives in Kingston. He lives in St. Andrew. Abby is a town girl. Nora is a town girl. Who else? Kimon is a country girl who live at town. Cara is a country girl who live at town, but has lived at town so long, so we say, all right, Cara, you're a town girl. Who else? Who am I missing? Alric is a town man. Orain is a foreigner. Orain Buchanan is a foreigner. Colisa is a town girl. And then the rest of the broader production. Michelle, which parish you come from? St. Catherine? You're a town girl? Living in St. Catherine? All right, so Michelle is a townie. Yeah, so we have enough country people in the news and production room. That's not half of them, you know. It's just some of them that. So we have to make provision for them to vote, and then, you know, to get on the carousel. Grace Bailey says, George, you guys try cover West Rural St. Andrew. Yeah, man, we have West Rural St. Andrew locked. So we'll be touching base with our correspondents after 7 o'clock news. And we'll be taking your calls all day. We'll be on the phones, on the line with all of the people assigned. Ricardo Brooks is assigned to the Prime Minister. Chevron Campbell is assigned to the Leader of the Opposition. And we have the coverage, the key seats and other seats. We have everything locked. So it's rolling coverage right until 7 o'clock. We'll be doing shifts. We're sharing it up. Cliff Hughes and myself. And then at 5:30, after the 5 o'clock news, polls close at 5, so we'll do some news at 5. At 5:30, from 5:30, the results show, where we show off the spanking studio, that we are broadcasting from. What you see Cliff hosting in is just a little bit, just a little piece. We can't show you the whole thing yet. So 5:30 tomorrow, you'll see the whole thing, and Cliff and myself with our team, led by our producer Sonia Stewart, will be broadcasting right until a winner emerges, and you'll get best in class coverage. So, the funny thing, for all of the cussing we get and the classing and the styling and the everything, where everybody will come for the best coverage tomorrow, and that's Revo TV nationwide style. We'll be making that commitment to you, where we are making that commitment to you, and we'll be doing our level best to ensure that every ounce and every inch, every pound, every gram, every ounce of experience that we have is brought to the fore. And with Cliff on the panel as the I almost said senior statesman, but he's the old statesman. You make kind of old. I hope him get a nice trim, cut out the great amount of head, Come tomorrow, fresh. Fresh tomorrow to deliver in his usual way. You're going to get primetime Cliff Hughes on Wednesday, I guarantee you. And you know that I'm always box office, so, you're going to have a good time. We found Professor Bilakin. Yes. Professor, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am very good. How you do?
I am good, thanks.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, sir, Professor. How big of a threat is prostate cancer to men in Jamaica today in 2025?
Could you repeat the question, please?
How big of a threat is prostate cancer to Jamaican men in 2025?
It's an extremely big threat. Prostate cancer is the number one cancer affecting men in Jamaica and the Caribbean, and it is still the number one cause of cancer-related deaths. It is highly prevalent in men as they get older, and it is particularly a threat because men do not avail themselves for the screening examination, and as a result, the disease is commonly discovered at an advanced stage or when it has metastasized or spread, and at that stage it is no longer curable. So it is a big threat.
Yeah. Are the telltale signs the same, Professor, or have they evolved over time?
The problem with prostate cancer is that there are no telltale signs when it is early, and that is a problem. There are absolutely no telltale signs related to prostate cancer. So while the cancer is growing in a man and it's still confined to his prostate, he generally doesn't have any symptoms. And unless he goes and has a blood test called a prostate-specific antigen blood test and the examination to feel the prostate, it will not be discovered early. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
I notice you say blood test and examination, and many people will tell you that, boy, Uncle so-and-so never went in because he feared the invasive testing procedure. How is the screening done? And is it the same traditional way of that probe that so many men are not fond of, especially in this country?
So the screening test involves two tests, the blood test, the prostate-specific antigen test, and the digital rectal exam. If a man does not want to have the digital rectal exam, we won't turn him away. We will just simply do the blood test. But ideally, both tests ought to be done. But as I said, we're not going to turn away any man who insists on just doing the blood test alone. At some point in time, though, if the blood test is abnormal, the digital rectal exam will have to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pardon my ignorance again, Professor, but if it is that the prostate cancer is detected when it is in late stage, how is the treatment tailored? Is it to make the person's life comfortable until the inevitable happens, or can it even be rescued in late stage? Can the person escape the fate of a late stage prostate cancer diagnosis?
So So prostate cancer, once it has spread to distant sites in the body, cannot be cured. And depending on how aggressive the cancer is and the life expectancy of the patient, it may result in the patient's death. So prostate cancer that has metastasized in a 50-year-old man is very different from prostate cancer that has metastasized in, say, a 80-year-old man, because the 80-year-old man his life expectancy is not as long as the 50-year-old man, and he may outlive the prostate cancer causing death. In other words, he may die of other causes other than the prostate cancer. Whereas for the 50-year-old man who has prostate cancer that has spread, that almost certainly is going to kill him. Because, prostate cancer is generally a slow-growing cancer. But once you have a long life expectancy ahead of you, if you have it, you are more than likely to die from it if it is not treated aggressively, or if it is discovered late.
To the layman, Professor, it seems as if we don't know what causes many or any form of cancer. And so we often ask, then how do we live our lives? How do we eat to help prevent something that the experts don't quite know what it is that causes us to have these conditions in the first place?
Well, it is not true to say at all that we don't know what causes cancer. We in many cases, we do know what causes cancer, or we do know at least what are associated with the development of cancer. So, for example, where prostate cancer is concerned, we know that men who eat a lot of red meat and animal fat, we know that men who eat a lot of processed meats, such as sausage and bacon and other processed foods, are at increased risk, not only from prostate cancer, but other cancers. We also know that prostate cancer disproportionately affects men of African ancestry, and that it runs in families. So while we may not know the specific cause of prostate cancer, we do know some things that are associated with its development and indeed progression. So it is not completely true to say that we don't know the causes of cancers. For example, we know that, obesity is associated with 11 different cancers. So somebody who is obese is at risk of one of those 11 cancers. So we do know risk factors for cancers. We do have that information.
Yes. We're out of time, Professor, but can you say something finally about those who are still hesitant about screening, those who are uncertain about whether or not they can get help if the thing is found to be advanced?
Sure. No man should die from prostate cancer, because if prostate cancer is detected early, it is imminently treatable, it is curable. And the way to detect it early is to ensure that you go to the doctor yearly to have your prostate-specific antigen blood test, and if you so desire, a digital rectal examination as well. If you do those two things, then you are not likely to ever die from prostate cancer. That's what I would say.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We caught you a bit late, but such is it. All the best to you, Professor William Aiken.
Thank you.
Good. He's a senior lecturer in urology and consultant urological surgeon, Professor William Aiken. Before I go, my friend, senior man in pharmacy, I'm not like when I call him name, so I leave him alone. He says, please let your audience know, George, the NHF covers the PSA test, and you do not need to be diagnosed with prostate cancer to get the card. We want our men to screen so they can come and get their NHF card to reduce the out-of-pocket cost of the test. Any male between 40 and 75 years of age can come in and get the card to do their test. So again, the NHF covers the prostate cancer, the PSA, that's the antigen test, and you do not need to be diagnosed with prostate cancer to get the card. Yeah, men between 40 and 75 years of age can come in and get the card to do the test, so you can significantly reduce the out-of-pocket cost for the test. Thank you, my friend AJ. Big up every time.
was brought to you by Express Fitness. Your goal is our mission.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:50.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King. Order the new cheesy fries from Burger King and load it your way with bacon, jalapenos, crispy onions, or extra cheese. Limited time only.
Grateful. Oh yes. Grateful. How could I not be grateful? How could I not give thanks? How could I not appreciate all these blessings I have? How could I be so selfish? How could I complain? How could I turn a blind eye to the sunshine and the rain? Oh, Jah provide the rain. Contentment is the day upon which I lay my head at night. Yeah, I've got food upon the table. I've got clothes on my back, so I know everything's alright. Yes, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Yes, not only when I'm grateful, oh yes, I'm always grateful. Give thanks. Grateful. I'm always grateful. So grateful. Do I destroy my enemies when I made them my friends? Loose lips talk of mischief, some live in false pretense. Look at what we do for them, see what a thanks we get. But a good man is never honored by an ungrateful set.
All right, so let's get right into it. The birthday greetings as I have them here in this group. The first birthday to send is to Saeed Bernard, who will make his return to Nationwide 90 FM this week, celebrating his birthday today, September 2. The greetings are coming from Michael, from Sondre, from Auntie Pat, from Uncle Desmond, the entire family, and your many friends who hold you dear. I've been told to read that, Saeed, you are a blessing to everyone who knows you, a source of laughter, inspiration, and strength. On this day, we wish you joy that overflows, health that endures, and success that knows no limits. May every dream you carry in your heart draw closer to reality, and may the year ahead bring you countless reasons to smile. From all of us, happy birthday, Saeed. We love you, we celebrate you, and we look forward to seeing all the amazing things this new chapter of life will bring. Man come from England with him degree, but he will carry the barrel yet, you know. So Saeed, we're going for the barrel. Anyway, happy birthday, my brother. All the best to you. You don't know your dupes. Sondre has been responsible for putting all of this together. So happy birthday to you again. One of our own, Saeed Bernard. Happy 21st birthday to my amazing son, Giovanni. From the moment you came into our lives, you filled our hearts with pride, laughter, and so much love. Watching you grow into the incredible young man you are today has been the greatest gift of all. Keep chasing your dreams and never forget how loved you are. Coming from your mom, Marcia Gay, your auntie Lunette, your grandma from Mary, and coming from Muna Rosanna. Yeah, so Giovanni, 21 on this day, and people them love you. People them love you, my youth. Love you bad. Happy birthday to a lifelong Nationwide listener, Mr. Keith Kong, celebrating 93 years today. Keith, 93, not out. I play them through the covers, square cut. Yeah, pull, off drive, on drive. Long on, long off, no way to see if Mr. Kong does a score runs. 93. Greetings coming from your children, your grandchildren, and from Claudette. So Keith Kong, Nationwide long-time listener, 93 today. Happy birthday to you, sir. All right, some quick fire ones. Anthony Rule, happy birthday. Curleen Brown, not Curlin Brown, Curleen Brown, happy birthday to you. Julian Lazarus, happy birthday to you. Angela Richards, Paul Drisdale, Andreen Hall, Christine Smith, Tina Lambert, Ariel McFarlane, Drafet Moody, Chantel Too Cute, and Keisha Cornwell, happy birthday to you. So too Sherwin Bonick, happy birthday to you. And Leon Elliott, happy birthday to you as well. Did they add another one to the group? Siobhan Mario Winter in Brompton, Canada. Happy birthday coming from your father, Llewellyn Winter. Llewellyn Winter is a top man, Llewellyn Winter, sending birthday greetings to his son, Siobhan Mario Winter, up there in Brompton, Canada. Yeah, happy birthday to you, Siobhan. Daddy Llewellyn says, big up yourself every time. Does Arlene Rowe have one? Let me see. Arlene. Oh, yeah, that was Saeed. Happy birthday to Dave Kennedy's son. Dave Kennedy. Hey, Annie Smith, a sample, you know. She says, happy birthday to Dave Kennedy's son, Dave Kennedy Jr. Yeah? So, all right, Dave Kennedy Jr., son of Dave Kennedy Sr., happy birthday to you. Is coming from Annie Smith. Herman says, happy birthday to my beautiful daughter, Shaniel Hyatt. Wishing you a splendiferous birthday. One love, my darling. So, Shaniel Hyatt, your mommy, Herman. I met Herman, was it last year? Last year, Herman passed through and checked us. Herman says, happy birthday to you, coming from your dad, your mom, your sister, Kim, brother, EJ, and the rest of the family. All right, Shaniel, so enjoy the day. Tom. Do I see another one? 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 Hey, Saeed, the people are welcome back. Because somebody might cuss you, somebody might congratulate you. But you know, so all of them stay, the whole of them love you. Tom. I think that's it, you know. I think that's it for the birthdays. I think that's it. Arlene have the birthday today. All right, cool. All right, so we make way for the Consumer Hour at 9, the top of the hour, where Tona Thomas will be deputizing Nora Gay Banton as another big assignment at our new digs. Yeah, she is coordinating for Cliff Hughes Online that starts at 10 o'clock sharp with Cliff Hughes. Yeah, so Tona Thomas will run this leg of the relay from 9. The Rastaman is in his chair already. Kevin Williams ready to give us pure wrong temperature this morning, but a good youth otherwise. Yeah, so there you go. On behalf of Jermaine King, who's beating a hasty getaway, he's going to the new digs as well because he has a lot of work to do down there. Morning to Simone, Luna, and Henry, our HR managers in studio, supervising Kevin, making sure. Simone, we need to do something more, Kevin. A pure wrong temperature, man, give me a man. One day, man, there was a man level about 35 degrees. Which can't go so. If a volcano erupt in Mandeville, it cannot be 35 degrees. Why Kevin did not go live down the down? Yeah. So good morning to all of my listeners. Michelle McCray Smith, our producer, Kimon Thompson in the newsroom. Or, you know, me and Kimon Thompson. So Kimon Thompson. Good morning, Kimon Thompson. Yeah, man. All that. Yeah. Anyway, people, tomorrow is election day, and we'll be here from bright and early until dark and late. We're giving you all of it tomorrow. We're laying it on thick, and you better enjoy it.
When I made them my friends, loose lips talk of mischief. Some living.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King. Have you tried the Burger King's new cheesy fries? Get the best tasting fries topped with a creamy jalapeno cheese sauce. Get yours today.
Search and provide the bread. Contentment is my bed, on which I lay my head at night. I've got food up on my table, I've got clothes up on my back, so I know everything's alright. Yes.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
JIS Radio presents Roundabout.